Okay, so the FBI called, and then my friend called, who's an attorney, who's on the complete opposite spectrum. He's like, "Do you need an attorney?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. I need to wash my hair." Much like today's interview, I was like, "I need to wash my hair before I go to jail."
Wait, you
And
told the FBI that you need to wash your hair before you come down?
I did. Mhm.
I'm not divided. I don't do Democrat. I don't do Republican. I don't do liberal. I don't do,
Uniparty.
I what I don't even want to know what that is, but I don't do it.
Uniparty, we're up against a uniparty because the Republicans and Democrats are all together.
Yeah.
So it's a uniparty
Yeah.
against us.
I'm what's your name? I'm 42 years old. I have probably 20 more years to live, 30, whatever it may be. Let's get some food, let's get a beer, let's make a
Yeah.
music. I'm just what's your name? I'm sexual. Let's play video games. That's me and that's it. I don't do CNN. I don't do Fox. I don't do Tucker. I don't do Rachel.
I don't
Um,
either.
beautiful room. It's interesting. Opposites attract. Hers is nice and bright. Mine is nice and dark. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you know who's more important. I'm waiting for her. It's all right. Next time I buy my $10 million house, I know who to go to. Jenna!
Sure.
Testing one, testing two.
Check, 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 check.
Why do you look so familiar?
Because I'm all over the news.
How are you doing today, girl?
I'm doing pretty darn good. Better
Good.
than in a while.
Good. Very good. So, I wanted to do this interview for obviously my own personal entertainment, other people's entertainment. Obviously, you're very well liked,
Oh, right.
and
Yep.
some don't. I mean, you're kind of like me. Some love me, some hate me. Mostly politicians hate me. Those are the only ones who really hate me, and their dumb family and their ugly kids.
Uh-oh.
But the reason why I wanted to do this interview with you is because I live on YouTube. If I'm not doing YouTube videos, I watch YouTube. That's all I do for my free time. I don't really watch TV. And you came across my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And the way the and I'm definitely going to get to because I want to hear this. I think everyone wants to hear this from you.
Lovely.
Regardless of what you did or you didn't do, what you knew, what you didn't know, the reason why I reached out to you is because I did not appreciate or like the way who
Mhm.
interviewed you, if they were the people who got 11 million views. I didn't like the way they were talking to you, the way they were talking down to you,
Right.
because they have received a hell of a lot of money
Right.
for what you did or what you didn't do.
Right.
And they're talking to you like you didn't give them your time and you didn't get them 11 million views, if not more. And for the commercials, the news is just they're getting worse and worse with their and it's been like this for a long time. And again, I want to
Right.
let you talk and tell me everything. But
Absolutely.
before you do that, I just want to let you know that was the reason why I reached out to you, besides my own personal entertainment and people want to hear from you.
Okay.
The news is just so fucked up with the way they treat people, acting like crime doesn't sell. America has a thing for this gangster shit, and
Yeah.
ratings go up, they get
Right.
paid, and she's talking to you like she's God. Like she never made a mistake in her life. Not to compare apples and oranges. Like
Right.
I can't stand these news reporters these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a cluster to say the least. And basically I was thrown into an environment which could be considered like I was thrown amongst the sharks and I had no clue. I didn't know anything about PR. I'm just a YouTube girl myself, and I've been creating content for 10 years on Facebook and YouTube. And I have to fix my face because I'm in here.
No,
So
no,
I'm
I
just
woke up like this.
well, that's awesome. I was like, I got to put some makeup on. Um, but
You're
anyways,
okay. You're okay.
okay, thank you. I've been doing YouTube content forever. I was promoted on YouTube. I would get thousands on my self-love you life coaching channel that I just did for a hobby. YouTube would, serve me up and they loved me. And I had a book coming out and all of this stuff. And the media got a hold of me and just used me as kind of like, I don't know what you would call it, some sort of symbol of the whole situation, when in truth I was, according to the judge, according to the prosecutor, the least of all capital offenders. But yet they put me in the center of it and used my video content to try to impeach Trump on the Congress floor and made me world famous, booted me from PayPal, and then called the media. PayPal called the media right after they booted me. And all the media was like, we're booting her from PayPal, destroyed my life,
Well, let
caused
me
a lot.
stop you there before I forget, and I'm definitely going to let you continue. Um,
Yeah,
what do you mean they booted you from PayPal? Who booted you, and what do you mean booted?
exactly. That's what I want to know. So I received a letter saying, you can no longer, because I was raising funds and I raised $200 on PayPal because people were wanting to support me. And that's what fundraisers are. And it said you can no longer do business with PayPal. And I didn't tell anybody. And within 1 hour, it became world news. And it was on CBS News. And it said, real estate agent Jenna Ryan booted from PayPal. And then they had a picture of a terrorist. They go, terrorist threat is high. So I became, to anyone who watches the news like that, I became like the the poster child for a terrorist, which I haven't even, I mean, I like drive the speed limit. I haven't had a ticket in 10 years. I had a rough upbringing. Um, and I've gone through a lot, and that's why I do my self-love you coaching, but I'm just a normal lady. And they used me because at the time I had blonder hair, and that's what I think, like, because I attracted attention. You know how they try to get somebody with long blonde hair and big boobs, and they try to get them to draw views. Well, my content was
Blonde
drawing,
hair and big boobs typically draws views. Yeah,
just admit it. I mean, that's,
it
it has
does.
nothing to do,
Most
it's not
guys
like
like blonde girls with boobs, and girls like blonde hair with boobs. I mean, it's been around for decades before us, so that's true. But hey, really fast, and again, I apologize for interrupting you. I just don't want to forget. When you said they booted you off PayPal, who booted you? PayPal legitimately said you're kicked out, your account's closed, or
yeah, I've
PayPal?
been with them since 2006. I had no clue. They didn't give me a reason why. I really can't talk about it because I'm in litigation
Okay.
on it.
Oh, yeah. Say no more. Okay.
Get off of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it happened. And so that after that is when I really started blowing up. And I was trying to stay out of the news because I was like, dude, this is way more than I can handle. And I got kicked out of my real estate office. I had to change my name. I had to close my company. I had to, I mean, the word, there are no descriptors to tell you the hell I went through. I do have a book and I'm writing it, and it's called Storming the Capitol, and it will be out soon because I get so many questions and I'm repeating the same thing. And so of course I have a book coming. And
The American way.
yeah, I
I
mean,
would write a book, but I don't know how to spell.
well, now that we have AI, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right. So good for you. I'm glad that you're. I'm. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're free. I'm glad that that's over with.
yeah,
So let me ask you a few questions for the record, because I don't like to put words in people's mouths. The
right.
interviews, and I do thank you for mentioning this too to me. I get it mentioned to me all the time. My interviews are probably almost 100% completely different from most interviewers. One,
Yes.
because I almost love everybody in America. I am an
Me
American and I refuse to be divided. I drink
me too.
water, you eat, I eat. We like the casino, we like sex, we like beer, we like alcohol. We're just trying to all have a good life. So,
Right.
um, the other reasons why my interviews tend to be a little different is the news agencies, the big media companies that you
Right.
would know more than me, they
Right.
only allow you a few seconds or a few minutes to talk. And even if you do talk for that time, they
Mm.
actually edit it and only allow snippets and put it in the way they want to put it. I don't edit shit practically in so many words. So,
Right.
um, let's go from the very beginning for the new people who don't know who you are, which I don't think there's a lot of them, but just for the record, I want to hear your side of the story instead of what I have already did minor research on.
Okay. Okay. So basically, you're right. So they would, I consider myself, I'm the lady who flew in a private jet to the Capitol.
That part's true. Yes, that picture was
That
beautiful,
is
by the way.
true. And but then they made a big deal out of it. That was weird. And all my content blew up and went viral.
They were probably jealous because a private jet, I don't like to fly. I never fly. God put me in Chicago. I don't leave, but I probably should. Um, a lot of people admire a private plane, jealousy. They saw a bunch of hot women, Trump supporters, broke people wish they had that. So that's probably why they made it a big deal. It's a movie, private plane. It's a movie scene.
It was a
That
movie scene. I felt like it was a movie scene. In fact, I have never been on a private jet. And I was just like, okay, I'll go. And they invited me. So I went. Let me save my light. I know you've got this on up. I feel like I'm too bright. Okay.
no,
They
no, you're
invited
just
me, so I
white.
went.
That's a good thing.
Huh?
You're just white. That's a good thing.
Whatever. I have some Indian in me. Um, okay, so I went, so here I am. I have a great reputation in Dallas. I have a radio show that I do every week for real estate. I'm also a life coach, very successful life coach, where I coach people all around the world, every color, every race, every country, every state, every political belief, every socioeconomical background, from CEOs to people almost homeless,
I saw you are.
all kinds of people who love me, gay, straight, it doesn't matter. I had a very good following. And that was just my hobby, that I love helping people. So I absolutely adore people, like you say. And then someone invites me to go to the Trump rally on a private jet. I'm like, part of me was like, maybe not. I'm scared. I don't know him that well. And then another part said, well, if I can bring my friend, this is a chance of a lifetime. I've never been to DC. It's a Trump rally, it's like, wow. So we went, we had a blast,
So you were
ended
under
up,
the impression you were just going to a Trump rally.
yes,
That was it.
no clue. There was no idea of going to a Capitol riot.
I believe that for the majority of the part, I think you're right. I believe you, definitely. And I also, not to speak for everyone else that was there, I don't think anyone or most people had absolutely any idea how
Mm-mm.
big and crazy it was going to be afterwards.
I had no idea. There were people ushering, like Ray Epps personally stopped my group and said, after this, we're going down to the Capitol. And we just kind of blew it off because by that time I was really tired and I just wanted to go back to the hotel. So I paid for us to go back to the hotel, begging them because I was so tired after the rally. The rally's no big deal. Everybody's in costume. It felt really good camaraderie, freezing cold, bought a Trump hat because it's so freezing.
Any alcohol?
You're freezing.
Any beer?
We had some wine, but I'm not a morning drinker.
It's like a football. What do they do? Football. What do they do with the football? What do you call that?
Tailgate,
It's like a tailgate, but at the Capitol.
but it was 6 a.m. And so I don't do 6 a.m. drinking. But then I got one of those rickshaws, I paid him to take us back. Of course, the guy wouldn't let me pay. The guy paid for it. Anyway, So they take three of us back. My friend, who was supposed to be my bodyguard, decided to stay. He wasn't ready to go back.
Wait, you have a bodyguard?
I was just kidding. He's my friend. I was like, I'll go if I can bring my bodyguard. From
Okay.
now on, I will have
Well,
a
now,
paid
yeah. Yeah.
bodyguard to
Okay.
tell me, no, Jenna, don't do it. So we go down and then we go back to the hotel. And then one of the people I was with, they were like, look, they're going into the Capitol. And you could see they're walking through the red ropes, and you could probably see some people climbing. And I was like, I don't want to go down there. And they're like, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Please, let's have some wine. Let's just, because I was drinking wine by now, the box wine that we bought at the Wawa next door. And I was like, no, let's just have dinner. I'm a little bit older than them. And they're like all gung ho. No, come on, I'll get a black car. Let's go. And mind you, during the first lockdown, I went to protest the lockdown at the Capitol in Texas. So in my mind, it would be like that. And when I was in the Capitol in Texas, Alex Jones came in his big tank, and he was like, it was just a big ordeal. Nobody got in trouble. The police were perfect. Everybody was cool. And I felt so good. I had my little thing. I mean, I'm completely oblivious. So this is on my mind. And so finally they talked me into it. I slammed some wine. Okay. And then I go and do what I do best, which is I'm like, okay, if I can create content, then it's worth it for me to go down there. Okay. So I go in the bathroom and I go, we're, in a goofy voice, because I'm goofy. And I like that about me. Like, I'm not prim and proper. I'm like funny. I'm more of a comedian type of person.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I just like funny.
Did
And
you
so
tell the FBI all this when they came? Not to speed it up, but really fast before I forget. Everything you're telling me now, did you tell the FBI this and the judge this, or
they didn't
was
proffer
that
me.
later?
They didn't want to hear any of this, because if they had heard this, they would have had to put it in the report. I mean, I did put it in the PSI. And so that's another thing. Okay. So then, so I go down, I go in the mirror and I go, we're going to storm the Capitol, and you don't have to be skinny. Okay. And then I lifted my shirt and I go, see, because I'm fat. I was just kidding. Because I felt pretty damn skinny that day. What the hell? But anyway,
You look
so
skinny now.
I go up and down. I go up and down.
Yeah,
Especially
there's
after
nothing
this.
wrong with fat girls.
I'm curvy. What can I say? Okay. So then I go, but the news pulled that out, just that I was storming the Capitol, and they acted like it was this pre-planned. I was literally storming the Capitol. And then I went and I videoed everything, because it was just awesome. It was a beautiful moment to see all these red flags. It wasn't what you saw on TV. And then they're like, we're going in the Capitol. And I go, okay. But by now I'm like, everybody else is going in. I don't realize that they're going to be imprisoning everyone. If I hadn't known that, shit, I would never even have gone down.
I
And so
believe
then,
you. That
yeah,
I believe. I believe a lot. Yes, that I believe. I told my friend, really fast, just to stay on this, if all those agents from the FBI and investigators, that would be an extremely hard job to do for them, men and women, because there are clearly some who broke the door, got in, had meetings. They did it when it's on video. They did. Then there are a hell of a lot of handful of people who had no intentions of doing that, but they followed them and they followed the lead. It would be hard for me as an investigator, if I was, which I'm clearly not an investigator, it would be extremely hard for me to talk about the intentions and the intent of the people in the back, which sounds like it was you, in my opinion.
yeah, well, I was like 45 minutes in, and so it was, all the breaching had been done, and I didn't realize that it was breached had I known that. I mean, if I hadn't, I mean, you mentioned, you follow people. So there is something called mob mentality that I've since researched. And when people, because of our psychology, when we get in a mob, our our intellect goes down, and it kind of baselines. So yes, but so yes, it was, I don't know how to explain it, but
Heat of the moment.
the part I was at was not like that. It was more like take a selfie. I
Yeah.
didn't, okay,
Okay.
I didn't see any violence. I didn't do any violence. Had I seen or done it, then I would go to prison for a long time. But since I didn't see any violence, I got out easy, but I still had to go to prison. And that was because of the media coverage, according to the judge. Nobody knows that. The news didn't report that. The news only reported what they wanted to report. And it caused all of this misinformation about me and my case, people wanting me to go to prison for life, be beaten in prison, saying I should have gotten more than I got. They didn't even know what I did.
Right. I know. And that's another reason why I reached out to you. I know the news is just, there's some good news anchors,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a heck of a lot of bad news anchors who just want that 5 second clip for their story. Again, you got 11 million views
I
on
didn't see that
their
one.
on their. If I'm not mistaken, I
That sounds
believe.
about right. I didn't look at. I don't. It freaks me out to look at it. I remember that interview. They begged me to do it. They flew to my house. They
Yeah,
sat
because they got
against my
they
wall.
got a lot of money from you.
They
From
got a lot
what
of money
your
from me.
they did, and they did, but we'll come back to that. And I just don't like the way they disrespected you. Like, just talk to you as a human and don't say, "Oh, well, you're a horrible person." Hey, we're cashing out on this horrible person. They
Yeah.
benefited more than what you maybe benefited from.
No, they
Okay.
definitely they tore me to shreds, and I didn't have the platform to take up for myself. And eventually the truth will come out, but at what cost? I have had, psychological, emotional, financial, relational.
No,
I've been damaged and ostracized from society because of these things, and that's why I'm looking into litigation on all of that. So I think, they won't talk about me right now. I promise you that. So yeah, it's
they
just
made million. They made a lot of money from you already.
they made a ton of money and they lied. There's juxtaposing me in that way. And that specific interview, I'll never forget. She was so sweet and so kind. And they were like, don't talk to anybody else. We want the exclusive. We're coming to your house. And then when she sat here, the questions, I've never been asked questions like that. It was like this rapid fire. And basically, they said the camera's rolling. So I knew that if I missed a question, that they were going to catch me going blah, blah, blah. And so I just didn't know how to answer. But I will never do an interview with them again, ever, ever.
It's sad. It's all sad. All right. So moving forward, um, after that happened,
Mm-hmm.
he obviously, I think you saw it on the news, along with hundreds, if not thousands, of other people. The FBI moved faster than lightning to identify everybody. What happened from that point? That point must have been very scary and fucked up when you got the feds knocking on your door unexpectedly, or did they call?
There were mobs of people. There were bots on Twitter. That's back when the bots were allowed. There were bots on Twitter, and it was just weird. They put me out like a terrorist, and so, you know, I really wasn't. I thought it was a joke. I mean, because I just knew that I just walked in for 2 minutes and 8 seconds, so I knew that I didn't do anything. So to me, it was just like, okay, this is some kind of movie. I wasn't really worried about it because I thought, okay, that's not, I'm from America and from Texas. And, I really wasn't, I just thought this is the biggest joke I've ever heard in my life. And I was one of the first people, and it was weird. It was just weird.
Did they call or did they come?
They called and they said, come down. And then there were some other friends who are liberal and they were watching it so close. And they were like, they found out immediately. And okay, so the FBI called, and then my friend called, who's an attorney, who's on the complete opposite spectrum. He's like, do you need an attorney? And I'm like, yes, I do. I need to wash my hair. Much like today's interview, I was like, I need to wash my hair before I go to jail.
Wait, you
And
told the FBI that you need to wash your hair before you come down?
I did. I said, "Can I wash my hair?" He's like, "If you don't come down right now, it's going to be abating." And so I was like, crap, my hair looks like crap. And I know I'm going to be on the news. And then I was like, oh no. And so the attorney called me and he got an appointment. So then I learned more about the federal system. So I just got arraigned. I didn't stay overnight.
Okay, so you never went down to that one Fed who called you, or you did go down?
Well, I did not go down to the city of Carrollton where I would have had to have a mug shot that was public. Thank God.
Oh, okay. So they didn't.
So
I'm sorry. So
it's a
when he
cool
said,
story, but I was saving that one for my book because it's awesome story that whole day. But I will give a little.
okay, so when he said, was it a girl or a guy agent?
It was the guy, just your
Okay,
typical FBI agent, special agent.
what do you mean typical? Well, I never met an FBI agent, so I
They
don't know
all look
typical about
alike.
them.
They had, they wear those pin suits. I mean,
Oh,
he
okay.
looked like, and he had a look in his face like, do you know that bumper sticker where the little kids peeing, and it's that look in their eye? Like, have you seen that bumper sticker?
No, I never
Okay.
saw the bumper sticker. I never met a Fed. The closest thing to the FBI with me is what I see in the movies, and I think they all had that G.I. Joe look, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this was like, you would never know it. Just more real millennial looking, real clean cut,
Was he good
skinny
looking?
jeans, skinny suit. The
Was he
suit was very well fitted.
was he good looking?
Um, he wasn't my type, but I would say he looks like the Patriot Front. Have you seen the Patriot Front where they all wear the khakis and they act like they're, I mean, everybody accuses them of being feds, but they're some kind of weird group nobody likes. We don't like. It kind of reminds me that the guy wasn't mean, but he did give me one look. He took my buccal swab, and that was like, that makes them feel good. And I was like, have a buccal swab. I'm not, here. I handed him my phone. I said, whatever you want. I didn't. They took
Okay.
my phone, and then they came and raided my house on live news. So this was
Wait,
for show.
did they kick down the door with the rammer like in the movies, or they knocked?
I said, hey, my key is in the car. Can you please get my Xanax? Because I'm going to have a panic attack. They got my Xanax for me.
Okay.
So only one guy was, I don't want to say mean. He just had that weird look for 1 minute after he got my buccal swab. But it was 1 second and it passed. And then he went to my house and they tore up my house and went through everything. And
So they didn't kick down the door.
they didn't, well, they would have if I hadn't just handed it. I gave him my car key. I gave him
That's
and I'm like,
nice.
please I couldn't believe they got my Xanax for me because I was like, and I was only I didn't realize, I thought I was going to be there all night. I didn't know. And I only had to be in handcuffs for a minute. I had heels on. And so everybody there were they couldn't believe this was happening either. They thought it was really, you could kind of tell. They were like, okay, what? Because you don't get arrested for a federal misdemeanor like this. Generally, if you look it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, there was another girl. I'm not going to say her name because I'm going to reach out to her. She's awesome. She's a great soul. She is a retired FBI agent. She kind of reminds me of you to a certain extent, just one didn't go and one went, which is fine.
Yeah.
She said in so many words, and this is what I heard her say.
Mm-hmm.
She said one of the reasons why she left the FBI is it's not because of the Bureau and the reputation that some believe it's the FBI. She stated that the men and women at the FBI, all they want to do is focus on federal crimes and nothing more at all. But the problem is they have to answer to someone at the Justice Department, and the Justice Department is weaponized, in my opinion, because every president, I think they're puppets, but every president appoints their own attorney general at the Justice Department, and the feds typically have to send in their reports to them from what I'm reading in the media.
Yeah.
Now, I
Having
believe
been
you.
having been wrapped up and embroiled in a federal case, it was like school. I learned so much about the feds, and sitting in prison for 60 days, I learned about how they stack the charges and how they operate. Personally, I would like to never even speak about the feds, just because that's just not something you want to mess with, because unless you have millions of dollars to defend yourself, if you're just an ordinary person like me, you against the United States of America is just a losing battle. They will crush you. This is trillions of dollars against me and my $200 I raised on PayPal or whatever. So personally, after what all happened to me, I just skip over that part. I mean, I have some pretty cool stories to tell, but I'm not going up against that one. I'll go
No,
up against all the rest, but not that one.
no, I went to the worst high school in the history of the state of Illinois and Chicago. No one could touch the school that I went to. It was a bad school, and every project and every bad area in Chicago, all of it, all went to this big building. So I went to school with some criminals, and most criminals there were smart. They weren't
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
All the smart criminals, they all taught me, and even the teachers, don't ever fuck with the FBI. Don't ever catch a federal case. If they want you,
Yeah.
you're fucked. And
Yeah. And
I
that's why I
never,
just went ahead and took a plea deal,
yeah,
because I mean, I literally was ready to take a plea deal on the day I was like, oh, plea deal. I did it. I'm
okay.
sorry I did it.
Yeah, so that's
Take,
another thing I want to talk about. Right. I hear you. I hear you. So before we get to the jail part,
uh-huh.
which I think a lot of people, and I sympathize with you, trust me.
Well, it's prison. It's a
You went
prison
to
camp.
jail or prison?
I went to prison camp.
Prison camp. Well, let me ask you this one
Different.
question, right, before we get to
Okay, we can
I
do that
want
later.
I want to know about prison camp. Yeah, that'll be next. Remind
Okay.
me, prison camp.
Yeah.
I didn't go to prison camp.
Yeah.
Um, some are saying one thing, some are saying the other thing, so I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
There was talks that, and I'm not putting words in no one's mouth, I'm asking.
Okay.
There were talks that before you took a plea deal, allegedly, and before you went to FBI prison camp, you weren't even going to have to go to FBI prison camp at all if you didn't tweet. And I don't know if you tweeted it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Let me know. I don't care. I thought it was funny. And I think it's true. If you did tweet it, and I think a lot of people think it's true, but it's funny. Sometimes I wish I was white because it's true and it's funny. And that's how I take it because I'm a comedian. Did you tweet, in so many words, I'm a white girl, I have a job, I'm not going to jail
No.
today, bitch, or no?
No. Okay. Here's what happened. Good. I'm
Okay,
glad you asked me about that. I was going to
got
wait for you to bring it up, but that is so important because I've never been able to share my side. So, as soon as I became famous,
it. Mhm.
infamous, I started getting phone calls because my phone number is everywhere because I'm a real estate agent. I started getting calls. What? I mean, horrible text messages, emails, phone calls calling me a white bitch. You probably won't even, and then tweets, you probably will never see prison because you're white. I mean, I've never been attacked and a racist. I was called a racist. And here, if you knew me, like I'm not, like I can't even tell you how much I'm not. So anyway,
I believe you.
yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
It
I mean, I
is
have
because
proof.
when
I have
someone
proof.
uses the N word or they use the S word and they talk about Mexicans and they talk about blacks, if they say anything about us, we could spark something. But when someone says the word white person or white trash or honky or cracker, for some reason, white people aren't supposed to be offended by that. And I have some friends who are offended by that. So I don't even joke around with them by saying that. So you
It
do
doesn't
have
even bother me. No, I mean, I'm just like, I don't
you
even
have a
care.
right for that to
Like,
bother you if someone calls you a white, whatever they called you.
I don't like to be called a racist. So
You have
that
a
was what
right
was
to be
meant.
not want to be called the racist. I don't want to be called that either. Well, I don't care what people call me, but I
No,
wouldn't
whenever you're
either if
called
I had a
like
normal job
this,
like you. I wouldn't either.
this was just, it was so untrue. It's like gaslighting on a high degree. It's like automatically they needed me to be a racist because that's what they needed the narrative to be. So
Hmm.
I was called that 1,000 times. So let's set the stage, the context of what happened. I'm afraid I'm going to prison. I mean, you don't know what it's like. The process is the punishment. When you don't know if you're going to prison every day, you wake up and you cry, you crawl in a ball. And I mean, it's the most horrible thing to hang over your head.
Yeah,
So,
when you have a pending case and you have investigators. You're right. You're right. When you have a pending case, you have investigators, especially the FBI.
mhm.
Before you go to FBI prison camp, you're fucked up. You're thinking in your head, "Oh fuck, am I gonna go? Oh shit, I can't." You can't plan a wedding. You can't plan a party. I mean, the feds could be down the
And you're
block.
trying, and I'm single and I'm running a business and the,
Why are you
get
single?
my book, get my
Why are
book.
I'm gonna
Because
get
I mean, because I am single. I mean, I'm just a single woman
Were you
and I love
single?
being single.
Were
Huh?
you single before you went to FBI prison camp?
Well, once the FBI arrested me, I got a boyfriend real fast, but that ended up not working out well and then my mom died and he was there right when my mom was passing
Oh,
away. So I
yeah.
had to have somebody. And then he ended up he got so upset when I broke up with him when I got out of prison because he just wasn't, we weren't working out and he got so mad he stalked me. I mean, I've gone through hell. So but he was good for that whole year. I had a great year with him.
Yeah.
But I've been
There's
single
a
for
lot of
years.
girls who had a great year with me too, so don't worry about it. Okay, so back to the tweet.
Okay,
Did
this is
you?
important.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just tell you. So this is the first time I've actually got to say this in public.
Yeah.
So I go to meet my attorney. He's from Houston. He comes to Dallas. We go meet at the hotel. And I'm like, am I going to have to go to prison? And he goes, well, I talked to the prosecutor and they're going to recommend 3 years probation. And I'm like, oh, thank God, which is not fun, but it's better than prison at that point.
Isn't the like the
Looking
weight
back,
is off? Like probation is awesome.
looking back, I'm glad I got it over with because I didn't get any probation. But long story short, so I'm like so excited. I'm so happy. And I'm like, well, can I tweet now? Can I tweet something about your law firm? Because I haven't been able to tweet because my attorney was telling me not to. So I'm have a glass of wine that's my, glass of wine in Dallas, drive home, probably bought, my little box of wine here. And I'm tweeting. Well, no. And then I tweet, oh, I have a great attorney. And then I go, and then someone goes, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. And I wrote back, no, I'm not going to jail. I'm sorry that I'm white and successful and happy, but I'm not going to jail. And I was answering the thousands of people, not just this guy. The next morning, the headlines, hundreds of headlines. Real estate agent Jenna Ryan says she's not going to prison because she's white. So then it's on I'm talking morning news, afternoon news, evening news. And I'm like, oh shit. I feel like I'm on an episode. You're probably too young to remember Three's Company.
I remember Jack Tripper. Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever they would like make mistakes, it's be like that was the whole thing. They
Chrissy
would,
listening in the door when Janet and Jack Tripper is teaching Janet to cook. Oh wow! No, you got to go deeper, Janet, Chrissy.
yes,
And in
that's what it
reality,
was
they're
like.
just cutting. Yeah.
And it was like that. And it was like, oh my God. But I still didn't think anything of it. I just thought, this is the weirdest thing. What is going on? It's a little bit flattering whenever you speak and it's like they take your tweet and put it all over the news. It's this weird feeling of I hate you, but also thank you. It's this weird experience. Like maybe I am what, anyway.
Maybe you are related to Trump and Twitter.
No, I
We
don't
do the
know.
same thing. He runs to that Twitter, and sometimes anyone, I don't care who it is, dude, they're fucking watching your Twitter. Knock that shit. Knock it off. Not right now. Don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the boss of him. He's got his thing going on. He's doing some things right because people love him and adore him. So whatever he does, but my thing is I've been tweeting since Twitter started. Okay. I've
Yeah.
been to Twitter. No, I mean, my first tweet was I'm plucking my eyebrows. I mean, I have been tweeting for all these years. So for me to tweet, but they started taking all of my tweets and putting them in the news, this one in particular, and you can read it. So then I get a call from my attorney, and he said, they saw your tweet and they don't like it. And you've now got a new prosecutor. And I had already done the PSI, which is where they go all into your whole entire life and you have to prove everything about yourself. And they were recommending the probation. And then he's like, I'm going to talk to her, this new prosecutor. And so he calls and talks to this new prosecutor and I go, so how'd it go? And he goes, she doesn't like you. And I go, crap. And he goes, they're recommending 60 days prison. And I'm just like devastated. I'm like, how could it be? And then the day before sentencing, they wanted to fly me into DC, and there was a 21 sentencing memorandum about me, a 21 page. And I asked my attorney who does federal cases, drug related, whatever, murders. And I said, did they ever do a 21 page sentencing memorandum for a misdemeanor? And he goes, no. And this thing, it said I'm a liar. I mean, it just was it. She hated my guts, and she was not the sweet prosecutor I had before. So when I signed the plea deal, I had a sweet prosecutor who wasn't, on my side or anything, but she was at least nice. This woman, I'm gonna just no words.
She was nice. She was nice. I like you both, prosecutors. I like you both, just for the record.
No words. But she hated my guts. And then she proceeded to, so then I went to sentencing and they said, the judge said, well, she's the least of all capital offenders. Because that was really important for my attorney to get across, because he kind of wanted to separate me from some of the more other things. And he was like, and the judge said, she was the least of all capital offenders. Prosecutor, do you have any objections? She said, no. Okay. Nobody had objections. To start it off, I was the least. 2 minutes, 8 seconds. That's what I did. That's my crime. He said, the judge also said, so then he sentenced me. And he said, well, then they proceeded for like 45 minutes to talk about remorse, whether or not I had remorse for being the least of all, remorse. And it's like, that's kind of weird to me, but that's the federal way. Federal, they're usually dealing with drugs, but it's kind of a catch-22 because you're defending yourself. So if you're defending yourself, then how would you have remorse? It's very weird. So, but
I think what they're trying to say, and again, I can't speak for a prosecutor, yet alone a federal prosecutor or a judge, but I think what they're looking for, in my strong opinion, judges and federal prosecutors know that we all make mistakes, we all fuck up, we all do some shit that we shouldn't have done. The million-dollar question is, are you going to do this again? Are you going to be back here again? Am I going to look like a jackass for letting you go and then you're right back here? Do you feel somewhat guilty? If whatever that may be. I think that's what they mean by remorse is, do you realize you fucked up? And they look at it, from what I hear. They have that hawk eye to see if you're screwing around or to see if you we all fuck up. There's no one on planet Earth who hasn't made a mistake. I'm the first one to say I could tell you a lot of shit that I've done.
yeah.
Am I going to do it again? No. Did I have reasons for doing some of the stuff I did? Absolutely. But I'm not going to do it again. And I think a lot of people, prosecutors and the federal government, they're trained to have that eye to see if this motherfucker is telling
They're
me.
also very politically motivated. This was a political show trial, show. It was about show. It wasn't about anything because I guarantee if somebody of a different political leaning had done exactly what I did, I mean, this was obviously political from the get-go, which is fine, you know. And I said, I'm sorry. So the judge said, I am sentencing you to prison, not because of anything you said, because boy, did I run my mouth. I did. I'm a talker. And, you know, I'm like talking, blah, 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 blah. You know, and he said, everything you said was free speech. So it was conceded in my, you know, and people don't understand that. That wasn't conveyed to the nation. That wasn't conveyed through the media, that everything I said was free speech. You're allowed to say, I'm going to storm the Capitol. That's not illegal. I didn't have any weapons. I didn't see anybody, you know. So I was
Wait,
allowed to
I'm
say,
allowed to say I'm gonna storm the Capitol?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like, because you don't know if you're talking about storming, how. I mean, just like you know, fight for your rights. You're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say it.
Right. You know what's interesting? A lot of people brought up to me, and I'm gonna upload this soon later. I
Uh-huh.
made a rap song called the Chicago Police Department, no, the Chicago Police.
Oh,
I like my Chicago police. They're getting real fucked right now, and they have been.
oh,
And in the song, First Amendment right, freedom of speech, I used the words and storm City Hall. I was just joking. It just rhymed. It was just an idea. It was just a fantasy. The teachers could strike, the police cannot strike. No one made a big deal about it.
mhm.
Then later on, I'm getting all these calls saying someone took your idea or they just had the same idea you did. Look, and I see everyone storming the Capitol. I was like, City Hall and the state government and the Chicago corrupt government is a huge difference from the federal government and the Capitol. I was like, I better take this fucking song down.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it today, but we're a different country today than we were before the certification of the election. So we were different. I mean, I wouldn't say it today just because I feel like I'm not that stupid. I mean, after what I've gone through,
Right.
no, you have to be so careful what you say.
Oh,
And
yeah.
because you don't ever know. And so I don't use words like that anymore. Should I be able to? Technically, yes, but I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't do a ton of things that I did. I wouldn't have gone to DC. I would have stayed home.
Right. Let me
So
ask you something before we move on. So the plea deal, and so because I want to move on to what you want to move on to, the plea deal, the
mhm.
tweet, and thank you for explaining that to me, the environment that you were in.
Is it, I mean, do you understand? I mean, I
I understand.
I love black guys. I dance with black guys. If I'm at a bar, me and the black guy are going to be dancing.
Right.
I
What
mean,
about
I don't.
Mexicans? Would you be dancing with them too?
I would be. Well, they don't dance as good as the black guys.
We
So
could dance. We could
if you've got that
dance.
vibe, if I didn't know what you are, but if you've got the vibe, I like that. But I'm just saying, oh my gosh,
I don't even know what you are. Yeah.
like I don't like I
Right.
don't. I love people,
Right.
and also I used to go to TD Jake's church for. I don't know if you know who that is, but I'm like a Christian,
Yeah.
and
Me
you know,
too.
I've gone in and out, but I used to be major, major, major. I'm
Mhm.
getting more major, major, major again. But I mean, I love going to black churches, jamming out, and I have clients of all different. I love Indian clients, Asian clients. Like
Yeah.
I'm. That is so far not me, and to be called that by the whole nation and the media is so painful. It
Mhm.
hurts me to the core
Yeah.
because that's not what I meant. I just meant I'm not going to jail. Maybe I shouldn't have said what I said. Sorry, but I didn't say it like that.
Right. Well, oh, no, and I understand. Trust me.
Thank you for letting me get that out.
This one of the dumbest things, the dumbest shit that in my life is racism. What nationality are you? It's just so lame. I just want to make money. I want to eat. I want to make music. I want to film a video. Let's make a movie. Let's play sports. It's fucking nice out. Let's just go out. I don't want to know when no one's race. So I totally understand,
Yeah.
especially when these people are calling you that. But let me ask you this: before that Twitter post came out after these people were trolling you, et cetera, and were
Uh-huh.
calling you race names and accusing you of being racist, which is disgusting. You don't accuse anyone of that. Um, Did the first prosecutor give you anything in writing or give your lawyer anything in writing, or did he or she just say to your attorney, we're going to recommend 60 days or we're going to recommend 3 years of probation? Was this in writing or no?
I believe it was in writing, the PSI report, maybe not. It was known that there was nothing solid. The judge would make the decision.
Correct. And
So
that
the
was the
judge
next
saw the
point.
tweet and it was conveyed to me that the
Yes.
judge saw the tweet and he
Okay.
didn't like it.
Of course. So I understand.
So
Now,
now
let
you're
me
getting
ask you this
prison.
question. Yeah, yeah, and I understand. It's your right to tweet. It's my right to tweet. Totally understand.
There's free speech right there, but not when you're under federal,
Right.
I guess, you know,
You-
but that's
to me, common sense. If I'm under review, I'm going to be quiet as a mouse, and I'm a church. I'm sorry. I'm done. Okay.
I still didn't get it through my thick head that they cared that much about my tweets. That's how, like, I'm just so not, I didn't get the gravity of how much they were. Yes, they were watching my house. Yes, there were black cars following me around, but I just kind of was oblivious. And I was so happy that I found out I wasn't going to prison that I
Right.
was just like, no, I'm not going. And it was childish and it was impulsive and I shouldn't have done it, but I did. But it wasn't in my intentions weren't.
Malicious.
Oh,
I
oh my
know.
gosh. I was
I
being
believe you.
attacked.
I believe you. I fully
Yeah,
believe you.
thank you.
No, I do. I really do. Now, do you think by and how do I word this properly? There's two things I want to say, and I want to word it properly. Do you believe that the judge and or the second prosecutor and or even maybe the first prosecutor, do you think maybe their office got flooded with phone calls and emails of other people saying, how is she just going to get probation? And do you think there was a little, because judges and prosecutors, they do listen to the public, they do listen to the victim, and they call it a victim impact statement. I'm not saying there was a victim here. What I'm saying is, do you think that the judge and the both prosecutors received a lot of phone calls after that tweet, and that's kind of what they were like, fuck.
Well, maybe so, but I think more than anything, what the judge said is what I'm going to go with. He said, I want you to know I'm not sentencing you for anything that you said because everything that you have said has been free speech. He did mention that he's concerned about my remorse. He was concerned that somewhere I said it was a witch hunt. And he said, the reason I'm sentencing you to prison is because for some reason, for whatever reason, there's been a lot of media interest in you. And because of that, I'm going to sentence you to show the public that we take these things seriously. So in the law, it is a part of the legal system in the feds that they can, it's called deterrence, future deterrence. It's to deter other people. So the reason, and so, you know, if you just hear that straight off and you don't know the feds and you've never had a federal situation, you may go, oh, that's awful. Well, no, that they have a right to put you in prison for deterrence. And so I respect the judge's decision. I have nothing negative to say. I'm glad that he put on the record what he put on the record.
Right.
I served my time. Thankfully, I didn't get any probation. And
Sometimes probation, I met a lot of people in my life, they
mhm.
don't want probation because it's, and probably not in your situation, but when you live in the hood or the ghetto or a poor community, some people that I used to know, that's a setup to them.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And
I was gonna,
then they have to do all of their time, which is even worse. There have been a lot of people I met who just took the minimum to be done with this because some people can't get out of the hood, unfortunately. And it's, but I totally understand what you mean. Okay,
I
so
think I was wanting home arrest. Take that back. I think it was
house
going to be
arrest.
2 month house arrest. I
Yeah,
was
I wanted that too.
preferring.
But I wanted that too. And people don't know that house arrest is not easy. You have to stay home, especially in the summer, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you have a good judge, they let you get your medicine and eye exam and groceries, which is good. But house arrest is fucked up, but you know what? Cook County Jail is even
That's
beyond.
the worst.
It's bad. So yeah, so let's get to that because and again, I want to watch my words when I say this because I'm not 100% true on this. It's unconstitutional, but I want to try to figure out how I could suggest this. You know just as much as I know, jail is extremely can't even be described. You just have to go there to understand it's dark, it's cold, it's either 100% cold or it's either 100% hot. They feed you and dog shit. You're not supposed to get steak and mashed potatoes, but you're not supposed to get what the fuck they give you because your stomach ends up touching your back and your back ends up touching your stomach. Mentally up here, things start to change. It can be dangerous. You definitely should come from the streets to adapt to where you're about to go. Um, did you do your full 60 days?
So I had to serve 59 days. I got 1 day off for that arraignment day. So the day I went and they put me in handcuffs and arraigned me for that day. So technically it was 59 days. As soon as I got sentenced, I wanted immediately to go because I'm a single woman and I live on my business. And it took a lot of money to go through everything. I lost my business, had to build from scratch. So I needed to go fast. So they told me I didn't have to go till after Christmas, but I said, screw it, I'm going right now. So I was warned not to go.
Wait, they told you you could report to prison after Christmas?
Yeah, it's white collar, so it's a little bit different. So yeah, but I said I needed to go to work. I had enough money to last 2 months and that's it. Like I had more, but not much. Like I really needed to work because it takes, in my business, I sell real estate. So it takes 30 days, 40 days, 60 days to even build right back up. And I don't want to lose my home and stuff. So I went to Bryan, Texas prison camp on December 21st.
I'm
Okay,
so interested why you keep calling it a camp. I'm missing something here.
I'm going to tell you, you're going to learn today.
Yeah.
So prison camp minimum security is for people who white collar crimes, so what they do is you're in this camp-like environment. There's no bars. There's no barbed wire. The door's right there. You can walk out at any time. But if you do, you're going to catch a charge of 5 years. So nobody walks out. Okay. So prison camp, they have gyms, it's just basically like a college campus. However, I went during COVID. I mean, they're like in the dark ages. So I feel like prison is a sadistic place. And I feel like sadistic people run prisons. And so if they have a chance to punish you more and make you suffer more, they're going to pull out all the stops. So you read the little brochure and it's like, oh, you get wrecked. You have to get a phone call. You have to get this. Well, I go there. They put me in quarantine and you're supposed to go in for 2 weeks, to make sure you don't have COVID. And every day they're bringing out the shots and I'm anti-vax. So I'm not getting that shot. And so then everybody's getting the shot. I'm in there with 50, give or take 30 to 50. They put me in a room and say, you're going to be in here. It's a rec room. No, nothing. You're in this rec room and you're going to be in here for 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was weird.
What's in the rec room?
I guess like an army barracks. It's like it's not bad. Like everybody was telling me, be glad you're not at the transfer station and be glad you're not in county jail. Because guess what? The food was wonderful. Like I was like, I can only eat half. I don't want to get fat.
What do you mean?
The food at federal prison is amazing. But so then I'm there and I'm like, well, the food's not bad. I'm doing yoga. It's not the best, but every second you're looking at the clock because there's nothing to do. There's nothing to read. You can't, no phone calls for 2 weeks, no phone calls, no rec, no sunlight, and they have black trash bags over the windows. But you could go out that door, but you're going to be in trouble. And all the guards are afraid of us. So they bring us our delicious food and just kind of throw it in because they're all petrified of COVID. And we're like in quarantine. So then about 5 days in, they take us to a chapel, what used to be the prison chapel. Now it's turned into a freezing cold torture chamber. Okay. So it's Christmas. We're put in the chapel. The air is blowing. It's like 45 degrees night and day because they believe that this is going to get rid of COVID. And they think if we go outside to breathe, we're going to spread COVID.
The germs are less likely to, I don't know what the fuck they believe, but I do believe in the cold, germs aren't as active in the cold.
No blankets. They didn't care about that. That's not why they had us there. They had us there to freeze our asses off. No blankets, wearing summertime clothes. It's beautiful on the other side of the door. And you can kind of barely see through the crack. Nothing to do pacing with 50 ladies who are in there for meth dealing, people that, and then there's people that are in there for embezzlement that they didn't do it. And there's people in there for bringing a lot, because it's in Texas. So there's a lot of people that were arrested for bringing mules. They would bring illegals from Mexico and they put them in their trunk and they would get caught. So 50% were like grandmas, young, cute, hot little girls, that those are the ones that drove me crazy because they all wanted to stay up all night partying. And I'm tired and I'm old and I just wanted to turn out the lights at 10 o'clock. I became very focused on turning out the lights at 10 o'clock because if I could just go to sleep, I could wake up and have another day done.
You could turn off your own lights if you wanted to?
No, there's one light and somebody's in control of it. And it wasn't me until the end. And then I kind of, that's another story. We'll have to read my book for that one because it's a goodie. But what
kind of food did you said you had good food. What's food?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So the Latinas in the kitchen in Unit B, okay, they cook the food and they know how to make salsa. So we would have I'm talking great food. But then suddenly Unit B got the COVID. So Unit B got shut down. And remember, right before I went in, I did a TikTok and I said, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in prison. I guess I'm just going to lose 30 pounds in prison. And so I guess they had to do this. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway,
Unit B. Salsa. I'm sorry. Back to the food. You said they cook salsa and what?
Rice, chicken, really good hunks of chicken that was boiled. Delish. Pinto beans. We had lots of boiled chicken. We had it every way, shape, and form you can imagine. There was a lot of TLC. The girls were very kind and sweet. We bonded. We loved on each other. We didn't get commissary in quarantine.
So no commissary food, the salsa. That's just what the federal government gave you to eat?
Yeah, until they shut the kitchen down. And they made sure, I starved. So they made sure to shut the kitchen down while I was there,
Why did they shut the kitchen down?
Because they got COVID. Well, then the whole prison had COVID and everybody got shut down. If everybody's got COVID and all the units, why not just open up? They've all got COVID. Anyway, everybody started getting COVID. They all got the shot. Everybody who got the shot got the COVID. Me and this other lady who did have the vaccine before she came in, she and I are the only ones who didn't get COVID out of the 50. So we were the only ones left. If you got COVID, you had to go to a worse room. You had to go to the gym where you had to sleep on a cot. And it was Omicron. They were like, this is the kind that doesn't kill you. This is the kind that gives you a cold. And so that was the excuse for not allowing us to go into regular, do the regular thing. Like gym. There was no gym. There was no fresh air.
Yeah.
Like one day they wanted to check our room to make sure there were no drugs or something. And we got fresh air, and they were mean. The up until the, like, I got used to it. Once you start, fitting in, and it ended up being, you cope, you adapt. But for like 21 days, it was, they always gave good breakfast, but they gave,
What was in the breakfast?
the breakfast, you would have the cornflakes that were like, milk was really good. It was like ice cold milk. Sometimes you get scrambled eggs. I didn't like that. I should have written down what I ate, because people ask that. Omelets, I want to say, just
Are you
not what you
fucking
expect.
serious right now?
Yeah, it was amazing. And they were like, the girls were like, in the county, they said we would eat brake pad meat. She goes, they had meat. It was like brake pads. You know, we would get like Salisbury steak. We would get, you know, really good food
I should
in
have
the
upgraded
feds.
my crimes from state crimes to Fed crimes.
Yeah.
Well, if if I could do it all over again. So
Oh, I see.
one of the reasons when you're in prison, one of the things that's really bad is the way they feed you. Now, I always make a joke. I talk to a lot of people, law enforcement, believe it or not,
Yeah.
talk to construction workers, talk to taxpayers. I talk to everyone who has a say in prison.
Okay.
And sometime in the year 2000 and oh wow, 2007, I was put in prison for a white collar crime that I clearly did not do. And I
Right.
was there for 2 years and 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a state. It wasn't the feds. If the feds, they they didn't pick it up because they're smarter than the fucking state. They realized this isn't even a crime, and but nevertheless, I was there in 2007 to 2010, 2 years and 8 months.
Hmm.
It was an experience. Now,
Yeah.
I already came from a bad school. I already hung out in the projects. I, I wasn't worried about the people and that mentality. I've been there. I grew up with that. So that didn't affect me. What affected me a lot and a lot of other people
Hmm.
is the food.
Wow.
I'm not saying to my friends that we should get steak. How you just told me that, I have no idea, but that's interesting. I can't wait for them to see this video. I'm not saying that they should get steak, mashed potatoes, McDonald's, and pizza. I'm not saying all that. I'm not saying Jack Tripper should be their personal chef. What I'm saying is, I don't think they should eat what the state gave them.
Yeah.
And that was brutal because
Brutal.
they go by the nutrition system. A
Hmm.
little amount of eggs,
Mm.
one milk, and
Mm.
one grits, and just a little. Your stomach is touching your back. Your back and your stomach is touching at 6 o'clock at nighttime until 5 o'clock the next day.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah, you're not sleeping. And again, prison's not supposed to be Disneyland. I get it. But it ain't supposed to be that because um, when I got back out, I was throwing up shit because I couldn't eat normal food. I ate a Big Mac and I barfed it right away. And I'm
Hmm.
just like, this is not good. And for you to tell me that the federal government, kudos to the FBI. I guess yeah, they're not
It's
inhumane
something
like
about
that.
food. You get fed in there, but they shut down the kitchen. And so for several weeks, we were starving. All we got was bologna sandwiches,
Yeah,
and we got some crackers, but there's no we and then finally I prayed and prayed, and we got a little bit of coffee, and then we got like, it's like a sweet and low pack of coffee, and
they gave you coffee.
a little sweet. I mean, it was everything just to get that little sweet and low pack. That was like everything. So, yeah, you just hung around. The guards weren't watching us. Nobody was violent. We talked all day. We watched NBC. That's all we could watch on
Did you
that
see
channel.
yourself on the
I
news?
saw, and all the girls were there, and I was like, here I am, because we kept waiting. And then they're like, Jenna Ryan, and then it said that, and we're all like, oh my God. And they're like, you look so much thinner today because you've been
Yeah.
here. Because I was starving in there because they starved us for a while. And it was, probably who knows why. But so yeah, I know what it's like to be starving and to be, in prison. And it wasn't a normal federal prison experience because they never let me out of quarantine. So I was in quarantine for 59 days. And I can't explain how horrible it was.
I know what quarantine is. I was in there for 14. Well, I wasn't a lot. I was in a cell for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 17 days in Statesville, like 20 years ago or 15, whatever. You're just walking back and forth with some other dude that you have absolutely no idea who the fuck he is.
Right. Did you hear
He could
voices?
he could be a murderer. He could be, you need to know, and this is why I feel even more worse for you. And if I am wrong, I apologize up front. You don't strike me off to be someone who came from the ghetto and the projects and the hood. I
I
think
did.
you did?
Yeah.
What project? What hood?
I moved out of the house when I was 16. I raised myself. I
Uh-huh.
was starving as a child.
Oh,
I
okay.
never
All
got
right.
lunch money. Long story. I was abused as a child abuse survivor, all of
No.
that fun stuff. Then I moved out when I was 16. I have a story like you've never believed.
Okay.
And, but I'm
Yeah.
50 now ish. You
Yeah.
know, I've had to
Okay.
pull myself up by my bootstraps and make my life, but nobody takes care of me. So it's really hard for me to get close as far as you're asking why I'm single. It's hard for me because I've been really hurt and I know how to take care of myself. And that's just what I do.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I've done drugs. I've done every kind of drug you can imagine, when I was younger. And I've had to do what I had to do to get where I have to get.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
I have a
know
college
you.
degree. It took me until I was 30 to get it, but I worked hard and I'm a hard worker. And, it's by the grace of God. But so it wasn't that difficult for me to handle being in there because my dad's a heroin addict. You know,
You
I grew up in,
serious? Oh my God, I would have never. You seem like a sweet woman besides the capital, but um, yeah, that okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
you
Okay,
can be
so
sweet and have a hard life, you
yeah,
know,
okay. I was
but
clearly
I'm not that what they were making me to be like
right.
privilege and a private jet flying, you know, that's like, what? Like,
Right.
no, you don't know me. If you knew me for, now I do have, I just, I just, people, I help people who've gone through what I've gone through because I've recovered and healed
Mhm.
so much psychologically from all the things that happened to me that's why I was a life coach. It wasn't a joke. I'm literally, I love people and I love helping them. So,
Right. Let me ask you this. So the officers, and I,
mhm.
I learned this. Um, I truly believe without a doubt in my mind that we don't meet people by an accident. The
Right.
universe has put us where we need to fucking be.
Right.
So the guards, the correctional officers, I don't think they're correctional officers. It doesn't correct you, but okay. The guards there, I have learned what they go through. They are locked up with you. 2 years, 8 months, 4 months. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the jail,
Mhm.
and the officers coming in. Hey, what's up? I was famous like you. They all saw me coming in. They were all they all saw me because
Oh, wow.
they had a little TV, and they all saw me coming in. They all saw me, even the officers. The I From what I heard, and I don't know if this is true, I heard that some of the Cook County sheriffs they got the YouTube and the internet taken away because they were all hitting my YouTube channel saying, "Look at him. He had the superintendent. He has all." They all loved me, everyone, because what they say I did. Um, so I saw the officer in the morning when I woke up at 7.
Uh-huh.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, good morning. Yeah, I'm still here. 7 o'clock goes by. in 7 a.m. to 3. He's supposed to get off. He did his 8 hours. That officer is that Cook County sheriff is supposed to get off.
Right.
COVID happened. They made him stay. And in
Mm.
their words, well, we won't make you stay, but if you don't stay, we'll retaliate against you this way. Is it true? Probably. There's lawsuits going on. I don't know. I'll let the judge decide that.
Hmm.
So a lot of them stood
Hmm.
from 3 to 11.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna try. You don't really sleep in jail. You know that. You're fucked. You're up here, it's fucked. Don't come back. So I sympathize with them now because they're doing time. 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. That means you drive back home, you get 4 hours of sleep.
Well, I think we need prison reform. And I was all for that before. Like people are like, oh, now you're for prison reform because da, 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 da. It's like, no, that's the kind of person I am. I just shoot for the underdog because I was an underdog and I really have a heart for people and I have a heart for prison. And I don't think anybody, any living human being should be forced to eat what is in the county prison. I think that all, I think it's a travesty, and I would love to see prison reform. I
Yeah.
think we do it wrong here in America. And I did prison ministry before, where I went to a prison, a real prison, a penitentiary on a ministry, doing ministry. So I've seen what the food is like, and it's a lot of there's a lot of people in there with mental illness
Yeah.
in the
And
penitentiary.
what makes it even worse too, and I don't want to say too much onto this because it's over. It doesn't matter. We have a guy named Sheriff Tom Dart in Chicago. Uh,
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's intelligent. I think he's smart. I think he's very extremely well spoken. I think he thinks outside the box. I think he gives a genuinely fuck like we do.
Right.
Um, he's trying to create stuff.
Hmm.
And what do you do? And this is where I wanted to say earlier, I want to watch my words. I think we should try to look into when you're in high school or when you're in 8th grade.
Hmm.
Let's see if your parents will sign a release and you can stay in jail for 24 hours so that
Ooh,
you can get that experience of
yikes.
these walls, the concrete, the food, your stomach changes, this changes, and that's just by yourself. That's not even putting you with the rest of the killers and murderers, and that's just a whole nother world.
Wow.
Um, there is that saying, you don't wish prison on nobody. I got some politicians I can't stand in the state government in Chicago. I hate these motherfuckers and they hate me more. Uh, I wouldn't wish prison on them because I think for them. They have absolutely no idea.
So funny that you say that, because this whole thing, of course, when you go through turmoil and trials, publicly ostracized from society like I was, and lied about, gaslit, whatever, you grow. And I remember thinking to myself, as much as I do not like the policies of Nancy Pelosi, this literally crossed my mind. I was like, I wouldn't even want her. I just started seeing people differently. Whenever I was put as like a talisman for whatever it is, all the people's projections, all the negative projections of all these people. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had so much more compassion for people, who are going through this. And it really helped me to have compassion for people, you know, no, you wouldn't. I don't want anybody to live, my biggest complaint was those little beds. They're this big. And we even had a little mattress. I don't think you get that in the county jail, but we had, a little mattress and a bed this big.
You got a mattress?
We got mattresses.
Man, FBI prison camp is fucking cool.
Yeah,
We
but not
had
when
a
you're in
little,
quarantine.
yeah, we were in quarantine too. We had a little what the fuck is that? It's not a mattress, I'll tell you that right. Your back hurt. I mean, again, I got a lot of friends who are just saying, don't go to prison. You're right, asshole. I'm not. You're right.
Same.
I get it. I don't. They all say it with the energy too. I got an
Yeah.
idea. Just don't break the fucking law. I know what they're saying. They're
Right.
smart and they're right, and I'm not going to. But
Right.
the energy for my friends who say it
Uh-huh.
that way,
Uh-huh.
they are disgusted, and that's why they have that energy, because from one human to another, those correctional officers, and I learned this, a lot of those officers are fucked up mentally in their heads. They are.
Wow.
And one reason why, they haven't said it,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that doesn't even know because it's in front of their heads.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like to see humans and inmates in these conditions. They have to
Hopefully not.
lie. They see you in your cell. They do a check. They look at you, but they don't look at you too much because they know you've been there. They don't like to see that, just the frequency from one human to another.
I don't see how they slept at night. Leaving us in that room, the way they left us freezing cold with no blankets all night long. We were shivering like this,
Well,
starving. I literally wondered how they even slept at night. And, we would beg them, we would be like, we're freezing. I had to move my bed so that it was away. And then I would like
yeah.
hang blankets so that the wind wouldn't get on me. And then there were certain people that were meaner than others. And, I think that there are some sadistic people that work there, because I'm all into psychology. And I know that
Me
sadistic,
too.
sadistic
What's that word mean?
people who
What's that word mean?
thrive on pain,
You're using big words over there. Statistic?
sadistic people who thrive on pain, they get, a dopamine hit when they put people in pain. Well, where's the best place for a sadistic person to be? A prison, because you are torturing people night and day.
Yeah,
But
but aren't there cameras in there?
there are not. No,
There's no
not
cameras in FBI prison camp?
no, because you'd be seeing people that would cause a lot of problems because you undress, you know.
Oh. Oh, okay. So in Illinois, it's not a camp. Here, there's cameras everywhere. There's no dead spots. Maybe
Wow.
there are, maybe, but it's unlikely in this day in 2023. There's a camera everywhere, and they could zoom in. There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
In prison, in FBI prison camp, there's no cameras in that day room.
Nope. And believe me, I asked, I said, where's the cameras? And they're like, there aren't any.
So
No.
what if someone jumps you?
Well, the guard is right out the way,
They don't
but
know
you
who
can't,
started
you
it?
can't, you can't be a narc if you're, you just get jumped. There was one lady that came in, she was in she got, I don't know what, I can't remember what they called them, the pods, like A, B, and C. She was in a pod and somebody jumped her and had broken ribs, and then she had to come back through quarantine. So I mean, everybody in my area, we were all new. So you're not ready to jump people yet. So if I had been, you know, the people aren't really jumping people, except when you're in a room with 50 people for 50 days, 60 days, you're about ready to jump anybody yourself. You're like, you better get the hell away from me. It
Yeah,
drives you nuts. It drives you nuts.
yeah. Imagine
Yeah.
being in 120 degrees. They put me in Southern Illinois. And Southern Illinois, I met a lot of good officers. I met a lot of good
Oh, that's
officers.
sweet.
They
Yeah.
loved me. They loved me. They said you and
Aw.
Lori Hoover were the only famous people here. They gave me extra cookies. They gave me extra food. They loved me, and I loved them, and I appreciated that. But that was a second shift.
Uh-huh.
First shift, they did
Hmm.
not like me. They did not like my name. They made it very clear. They just did not like me. But I find out, no big deal. It's okay. A lot of them are KKK members or Nazis because it's in Southern Illinois. And the officers on the second shift who told me that said, you're by the swamp. Texas is right across the street. They don't even like Chicagoans for many reasons. So I'm dealing with the KKK every day during the day there. And cameras, It wasn't like now. There
Yeah.
was there was a camera outside the warden's office, there's some in the kitchen, some in the gym, but there's a lot of places there's no
So
cameras.
I don't even know anything about, like, nobody would even talk to me like that. Like, if somebody were racist, when it's on the topic of race, that's what's so bizarre is, like, if anybody even brought that up, like, they wouldn't bring it up in front of me, because it's like, it wouldn't wash. I wouldn't talk about it. It wouldn't go anywhere. So if anybody's a racist, I don't know it, because they're not going to be telling me about it, because I was raised not to be that way.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I do believe that racism is a problem and it's something that needs to be addressed. And I think it's a wound that our nation needs to work on, our world. It's not that I don't think that racism is there, but I'm saying, me personally being the talisman for racism is really backwards, because it just doesn't fit me. If it fit me, it would be one thing, then I would own up and I was blah, la, 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 la. But it doesn't fit me. And so I'm more apt to be on the side of people who want, equality. And I'm more apt to be outspoken in that way, but not in a Marxist way, not in the way that they're, the powers that be are trying to divide us using things such as race, sexual orientation, whatever it is, using our differences. Like, I think that we can all be different. We can all be whatever we are, and we can still unite. We can even have disagreements and still unite.
Yeah, let me ask you something, and this is just me. This is really just me. Do you ever just go outside and be like, damn, I'm free. The sun's hitting me. I can do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Is that all? Yeah, that's like, and a lot of people, I was one of them. I was definitely one of
Yeah.
them. We take for granted
Uh-huh.
the simplest shit when you're
Yeah.
in prison for years. No
Yeah. My
clubs,
bed,
no bars, no sex, no video games. You're,
coffee,
well, you had coffee. It was FBI prison camp for you.
one coffee for the whole day.
My, how much? That's all I drink. I was in Southern Illinois, so in your cell there was no air conditioning. No, it was a.
Oh,
They sell you a fan if you have $30, but the fan's fucking useless because it's hot air blowing at you. The fan's even worse. I slept in 120 degrees hot in that cell, if not more. You touch the wall, it's hot because it's Southern Illinois. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to sleep in this when fucking Officer Howard here with the KKK during the day? I didn't think I was gonna get it.
I don't believe he was with the KKK.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't believe that.
I
I have a hard time.
one day, Jesus Christ, looking at me now.
Prove it.
I I set up cameras when I wasn't supposed to. Jesus
Oh,
Christ, looking at me now. There is footage of an officer throwing. We had a gray. Everyone had like a big gray box, and that's where you put your stuff in. There was
oh.
an officer, and he threw that box at it was some black dude, and he threw it. He said, "What are you fucking poor? N word." And I'm sitting
No
back.
way.
Jesus looking at me now. I'm sitting back on my bunk watching this, and I'm thinking in my head, I know there's a camera there because I'm the one who planted it. It was building 19, wing 4, bad building. No one wanted to go in that building. I went in that building voluntarily. KKK exists. Great. I don't
Okay.
love them. I don't hate them. I respect it. I just say KKK. You stay KKK here, and I'm going to go KKK here in Chicago. And this is one reason why I don't leave. I just think we all should.
I don't know any KKK.
I
And
don't either, but I sure as fuck live with
don't you
them.
think I would know? I mean, I don't know any.
I don't
Like,
think you.
I
Yeah,
know
okay.
there might be somebody that's a little bit racist, but they sure wouldn't be bringing it up to me.
And you know what? What a lot of people don't understand, and this is me, I'm a different person. It is legal to be racist. It is legal
Play
to be the
right.
KKK. You just can't mistreat people. So I say this, planet Earth is fucking huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. Let them have their swamp in Southern Illinois. I'm just not going to go there. And that's it. And they're mad. The officers on the second shift told me that They're mad because Chicago gets funding, Carbondale gets funding, and when the governor of the state of Illinois released funding, they miss Southern Illinois. And it's true. They just, I
I
just,
say if you're racist of any kind, I think that's not good. I don't think you should be racist against anyone. Um,
morally or legally.
in any fashion. And I don't think we should, I think that political views should also be a protected class, which technically it is because of the First Amendment. But I think everyone needs to just live and love one another. And I think we have a problem in this country right now of tyranny coming in, and that they want to divide us. And as much as they're able to divide us, they're going to divide and conquer. We are all humans. We all are powerless to a huge tyrannical government. So we all have to bind together, whether we have to put aside our differences and we have to stand together, love one another. You know, I have a hairdresser. Okay. She doesn't like me. She's the one who got my hair all blonde. It's not blonde now. This is called, I don't know what. She doesn't like me because she saw me on the news and, or whatever reason. She was my hairdresser for years, and she believed the news over me. And I can't go to her anymore, but I'm not going to hate her. You know, I see that she doesn't have the ability to see through the lies. I still love her. I still send her business. I forgive her. And if she ever wants to act right and love on me, like I'm just going to be a good person to her, even though she hates me. And it's not easy. I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm saying I've done this because mentally, it's better for me to just forgive and just know that this person has some catching up to do when it comes to being human and mature. Because, and you know, everybody has things we could improve upon and learn. But what we have to do is come together despite our differences and say, you know, you believe that, I believe this. Maybe I did wrong in the past. Maybe you did wrong in the past. Let's put our arms around each other and unify against this thing that we have coming against us so that we can not lose America.
You said it. I said it. A lot of people know it. Law enforcement knows it. Taxpayer, well, some taxpayers know it. The higher ups to be do have that mentality of divide and conquer. And it has worked. They have did it with the slaves back in the real fucked up days. They would have the slaves fight each other so they
Mm-hmm.
could be distracted from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not divided. I don't do Democrat. I don't do Republican. I don't do liberal. I don't do,
Uniparty.
I what I don't even want to know what that is, but I don't do it.
Uniparty, we're up against a uniparty because the Republicans and Democrats are all together.
Yeah.
So it's a uniparty
Yeah.
against us.
I'm what's your name? I'm 42 years old. I have probably 20 more years to live, 30, whatever it may be. Let's get some food, let's get a beer, let's make a
Yeah.
music. I'm just what's your name? I'm sexual. Let's play video games. That's me and that's it. I don't do CNN. I don't do Fox. I don't do Tucker. I don't do Rachel.
I don't
Um,
either.
I'm
I
not,
don't do Tucker. I don't do any of them. I
I'm
watch
not,
a lot. I do Rumble, and I do And We Know. I love And We Know, and I love. I'm a Christian, so I love.
yeah.
All of this has really, really brought me into God. And really helped me to love God more, because if it hadn't been for Him, I wouldn't be where I am today. And here we are on the eve of Easter, and I got to go cook dinner. I got to cook for my family tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta go to the casino. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm starving. I go to the casino because I'm trying to win like a couple $1 million to get out of Chicago and build a house in the suburbs. So that's my dream. I'm not gonna be staying here long. Dude, it was awesome talking to you.
You too.
I'm glad that you came out on the other side. Thank
Thanks.
you for sharing your story and giving me the opportunity to give you an opportunity to say the facts and what you believe. I'm glad that you are out of FBI prison camp, which, except the cold, didn't sound too well. Yeah, the
He was
food.
starving.
The food. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you
It
should.
was like really good or really bad, you didn't know.
Right,
So
right, right, right.
21 days of starvation.
Yeah, and that fucks with you. That makes you. There's some people who just say, "All right, I'm not going back to that shit."
Oh yeah. I
That,
mean, hopefully I don't go back. I'm
no, you're
always
not.
going to take a stand for freedom
Why would
unless
you
there's
go
law against.
back?
Well, I mean, our country's not the same. So it's going to keep going in a direction and I'm still going to be a speaker. I mean, what
Yeah,
if
but
they
you're gonna be
start
a
saying we're going
speaker
to go back through your
outside.
old tweets? What if they say we're going to go through your old tweets and anything you said, we're going to throw you in prison for it? They could, I mean,
They
we're
would have.
going in that direction. Hopefully not.
They would have done it by now. The FBI and those prosecutors have so much other bigger shit that they're not worried. I can't speak for them. I don't think they're worried about. No, you did your time. It's over. There's other stuff going on, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I'm going to be speaking. I'm being asked to speak at some pretty big events and things. And
You're
who
elected.
knows? I never want to get caught in those clinches ever again. But if I do, then, you know,
Just don't go in the Capitol.
just don't go in the Capitol.
Yeah,
But then what if they say we saw, they can accuse you of stuff. So you
yeah,
never know. I mean, it's different. We'll find out.
it is. It's unlikely though. I think
Thank
you're.
you so much.
Thank
I
you.
want I want a copy of this so I can put it on all my networks.
I'm going to upload this to my Operation Chicago YouTube channel.
Okay.
It was I will email you. I will give you my number as well. You give me a call. When you're writing your book, I own a recording studio.
Okay.
So I do audio work,
Oh, okay.
such as people sit and they read in the microphone, the same microphone Warner Brothers uses, I use that. And you
Okay.
sit and you sell the audio book for 24.99 on Amazon and I give you the audio. So I'll definitely we'll talk about that, but um I will email you my number
Okay.
or you can email me yours. Don't give it out to nobody, please.
I have a public number, so. Oh, I won't give out your number. Don't you worry. Yeah.
It was awesome talking to you, kid.
You too. You too. Stay in touch. Thank you
Enjoy
so much.
your freedom.
Okay. Gonna do it. Peace out.
See ya, kid.
Thank you. Mm.